film?
I guess just how our kids stayed after it. It was, the three turnovers were hard to overcome. Um, we were emotional. I could tell. We were a little amped up just because those 26 seniors and what those guys meant to the program. But our defense was just so dominant. They had one bad drive really the whole game, the one right before halftime. Um, Special teams were solid, and the kickoff return was so huge. The field goals Tate hit were big. I know he missed the 55 yarder, but still. And I guess how well we ran the football. I mean, to go back to back games to rush 300 yards is pretty impressive. So I wouldn't. We were way cleaner, honestly, against Memphis and North Texas than we were against Temple. But I think Temple's defense had a lot to do with that as well.
Jeff, what led to the back-to-back 300-yard rushing games you guys have had?
Well, I think people are playing us a little different, because we've thrown the ball so well. Owen's had an amazing year, and he's just gotten better each week, and people are noticing that. And just the stick to itiveness of doing it. Early in the year, JJ, we lost, our center Lopez, we lost Venley, we lost Mackay, so your line's kind of in a shuffle mode. And we've been fortunate, over the last 6 weeks that y'all, I could now ask y'all who our five starting linemen are, and everybody on the screen would be able to identify who those five guys are. Where if I were to do that the first month of the year, there's none of y'all would have been able to. Well, maybe y'all, because y'all study us a lot, but I doubt off the top of your noggin you could rattle off our five starting linemen, and now we can all name them. Losing Oscar was a big loss, but because he's such a great run blocker for us, and those young tight ends have come in and played well. But just the continuity and maybe the way people are attacking us a little bit.
What have you seen out of Robert to allow him to look like to be the top back on this team?
He just is a explosive back. It's his last year. He knows it. He wants to get to the National Football League like all of these guys do, and he's putting great tape on video. And really happy for Robert. I mean, he's a really good running back. He's got great hands. He's shifty. He's got top end speed, and I'm glad everybody's getting to see how good of a back he really is.
Greg.
Jeff, a couple weeks ago you talked to us about the running backs kind of cutting on air in some instances and things like that. How important is it for that group to develop trust with the offensive line, and have you seen that develop through the season?
Yeah, we worked hard at it. Uh, they've got to get to the hill line. That's what all great backs do. They get to the hill line, which allows the offensive line to set a good double team on the offensive lineman, and then rock off late to the linebacker. When you're cutting already before you press the hill line, the offensive line doesn't have a chance to set their double team. So you get no movement on the D line, and then you also don't get a real good block on the linebacker because you're having to do it so quickly. So it's just been a lot of work, and our line has stayed relatively healthy, and we've been patient and just stayed at it. And I wish there was a magic pill you could take, man, to fix all this stuff, but it just takes a lot of hours of work and always some luck of staying healthy. I hate it that y'all never got to see our 22, not one time the entire season did we have our 22 on the field, which is remarkable, disappointing. I still think this is a 9 or 10 win team, and but I'm proud of how they've hung in there and we battled out of it.
What did it mean to get Brandon High back in the mix in the backfield, and what should we expect for his role this week?
Yeah, we'll just see how his health stays. He's been pretty dinged up all season, and he felt a lot better last week, and hopefully he'll feel better this week.
Bryson back there is not a guy we've talked about much, but he's had a role in the offense more often than not this season. What does he sort of bring to the team that has stood out to you so far?
I think just what y'all see, he just his physical toughness. I mean, the kid is just physically tough. Um, he's a really good kid, and he's only gotten better all year. He came in late, so he had to learn the offense, but he's picked it up now, and he's really gotten himself in the three deep.
Are Are you growing more confident in your team's ability to convert short yardage situations on the ground when you need to, or where do you stand with that process?
We're a work in progress.
Good, Jeff. Jeff, what's led to the dominance from your defensive front seven? I mean, they've put up some big numbers this last month.
Just they're senior driven. They're really good players, and they've been playing here for a long time. Starts with Brandon Brown, the nose guard. I mean, he demands a double team at all times. Losing Joe Evans is a big loss, but Christian Clayton has come in and just played unbelievable. Another senior. Cyrus Simon, another senior. Our Will linebacker, Jamori, senior. Danye Taylor, Sam linebacker, senior. Jamal Ligon, your Mike. You know, Martavius French, your Jack, and Brevin rotates with those two. Those are all seniors. I mean, that's that's an impressive group right there, man. And we'll miss those guys big time.
What is it taken from, like, to see Jamari develop? I mean, that was a monster outing. He's going to go down in the record books, with some of the top pass rushers here for that game. What have you seen out of him?
I hope people realize just how much better he's gotten. I'm sure y'all have. I've told y'all I mute all social media during the season, so I don't really know what's said about my guys. But I hope people realize how much better he's gotten. I mean, his attention to detail is just so much better. I mean, like, I'm just really, really proud of Jamori. And he's finally getting to be what we always thought he could be. And he deserves all the credit. He's the one that, and he gets pulled every single time he does one of his silly antics, but those silly antics have gotten fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer, where he's out there on the field way more than he's not because of how he's just grown up.
Greg?
Jeff, now that you guys have bowl eligibility secure, how do you use the guys, or how do you talk to the guys this week as far as like goals and motivations for the final game of the year in the regular season?
Well, we're competitors now. I mean, there's a game going to be played Saturday. It happens to be I don't know what they're ranked, but I know they're in the top 25. They're the number one red zone defense in the country. They're the number one rush offense in the country. Number one time possession in the country. Third least penalized team in the country. I mean, there's nobody in the world that thinks the UTSA Roadrunners are going up to West Point and play in freezing weather and beat Army. So we're competitors. We even though I'm not on social media, I got a feeling what everybody's saying on social media. I got a feeling what everybody's saying, period. And we're competitors, man. We want to go up there and see if we can learn from our mistakes on the road. I, unfortunately, cannot hook the Alamodome up to our jet and fly it up to West Point and get those guys to play indoors with us. We're going to go outside in the elements with no fan base. We'll have some. Obviously, there are the few that can make it in a hostile environment. And if you're a competitor, man, you live for these moments.
You mentioned the elements. How are you preparing around that possibility, and what impact do you think that'll have?
Yeah, you're talking to a boy from Texas. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try to stay warm the best I can. And, I'm not going to do what I did when I was young, where I tried to be, stupid and, like, wear short sleeves and show everybody how tough my team was and my team not have jackets and all that dumb stuff. We're going to have every element of warmth we can on the sideline. And the moment we're told to go out on the field, we'll undress and sprint on the field. And then as soon as they get off the field, they're going back over there trying to stay warm. I watch those teams that play all the time in the cold, and those guys are over there staying warm. And then they go out there and they play ball. So that's what we'll do as well.
What do you expect as far as Army's mindset in this game, kind of knowing they already have a conference championship game spot secure and that their undefeated season is gone as of last weekend?
Yeah, they're Army. I don't think you need to worry about their mental toughness, Greg. They'll be just fine.
Jeff, what's the challenge with logistics this week? Because I think it's a little bit of a different week with Thanksgiving, and then it's a long flight to New York. What do you guys got planned in terms of that?
Yeah, these weeks are always different. because it's Thanksgiving, and that's always tough because we want to be with our families, but we can't be because we're going to be with each other. So we'll practice on a normal schedule, but as soon as practice is over Thursday, we'll get on the jet and we'll head to West Point, and so we'll get in there, Thursday evening, because we have an early tip, on Saturday morning. So there'll be no walkthrough Saturday morning. You'll literally get up at the hotel and you'll go to the game and you'll play. So you kind of got to do everything that you do on Saturday morning, Friday evening, and everything you do Friday evening, you got to kind of do Friday afternoon, just that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to spend some time with my fellas. We'll have a Thanksgiving dinner with each other. We're all very close. Been together for a long time. I mean, 5 years of these guys, man, that's pretty remarkable. I think they went, I know you guys know, 29-3 in the Alamo Dome in their 5-year career. They're 2-time conference champions, 5 times the bowls, only 2 losses in the month of November. I'm not sure how many wins, but a lot. Really proud of this group. And I know it's not the season we had in mind, but considering what they went through, I think they deserve a lot of credit for how they've finished this year out.
Yeah, kind of along those lines, have you been able to reflect on what reaching bowl eligibility for 5 straight seasons means?
I hope people appreciate how hard that really is to do. I mean, Nebraska's as storied a program as there is in college football. And my good buddy Matt Rule just got into a bowl, right? And you saw him rush the field. And I remember how thrilled everybody was here when we went to Southern Miss and we were road dogs, and and we got qualified for a bowl. And to do that 5 straight years, if you'd have told me after what we had done at Tulsa that we were going to come back home and beat a Memphis team that had 1 loss at the time, top 25, beat a North Texas team that had 1 loss at the time, 3rd-ranked college offense in the country, and then beat a Temple team to get bowl eligible, I'd have been asking you, what team have you been watching all year?
Jeff, what is it about Army's offense this year that they have been statistically at an even higher level on the ground than we've seen in recent seasons when you guys have matched up with them?
Their O-line, they're really fantastic. They're older, they're veterans, they've been together for a long time. Their scheme, but the quarterback, I mean, Dad's a high school football coach in Abernathy, Texas. I have a lot of respect for him. He is tough. He has over 200 carries as a quarterback, and he is special. He's a really good football player.
What are the biggest challenges when you're going against a team that converts 4th downs at however rate as they do, and they rack up time of possession the way they do? How does that change things for you guys?
Well, you're going to get 50 snaps on offense, so there's a tremendous pressure there that you have to execute every play offensively, because you're only going to get 50. So your game plan's a lot smaller because you're not going to get as many opportunities.
Your guys' defense has been pretty strong most of the year against the run. Is it a lot of the same things that translate to a matchup like Army, or is defending the option just kind of a different beast?
Yeah, it's a beast in its own, just because everybody's got to be. As you've seen us this year, we misfit one thing, they score. So there's a lot of chances to misfit this offense because they do so much. It looks like they're just running, hand the ball to the fullback or quarterback run. If you'll rewind that thing about 20 times and watch all their different schemes of how they block all that stuff, it's very impressive.
Every time you guys have gone against them, they've been above their passing average relative to the rest of the season. How do you balance sort of trying to take them out of their comfort zone with the run game and maybe force them to do some of that, but without giving up too much in that area either?
Greg, as long as we've been together, you think I'm really going to tell you what our game plan is going to be before we go into the game? You just got to be, let's go coach talk, Bill Belichick 101 here. We all have to be sound on our assignments, and we have to have great eye discipline.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you about Zay Frazier and just what you've seen out of him in his time here at UTSA.
Another young man that's just, I tease all the time. I used to use Tyke Ogle-Kellogg as the example of what the word potential was, which means everything that you're not. And, when Tyke left us, we got everything out of Tyke. I mean, he became the player he should have been. I say the same thing about Zay, the same thing about Jamori. We finally got those guys where they need to be at the perfect time of the season to do it, right at the end. And I'm really happy that he's reaching his full potential right now. He's tackling better. He high points the ball better. His eye discipline is a ton better. And those are all three areas of his career he's really struggled in. And, man, I'm really proud of how he's improved.
He told us after the game he's not planning to come back next season and try to go to the NFL. What was your reaction to that when he made that decision and told you that?
Well, we were all a part of that. I mean, we're all included in those decisions. I mean, obviously Nick Graham and him and me and the guys that we talk to that think he has a real chance at the National Football League. So it's time. It's time for Zay to go off and show us. Obviously, the success of Tariq will help him and his length. I think he'll have a great pro day. And he's just got to keep putting some more video out. If he'll keep tackling, intercepting balls, he'll have a chance.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? All right, thanks, everyone.
God bless. Birds up.